Hi, and welcome back to the Programming in Ninox training series. In this class, we're going to look at how we can utilize the relationships that we've built in the previous two classes, our external references and our internal parent-child relationships, to collect and transform large amounts of data. We're not going to introduce a new relationship type. We're going to look at how we can leverage the two relationships that we already know about to create high-performance database applications in Ninox. Let's go ahead and enter our application, and the application trigger, or the trigger on open, will automatically bring us to our accounting dashboard. Here we see the transaction sample tool that we looked at in our previous video, and we see a new view, which is our sales ledger. This is the detail line items of every transaction in our system. Now, to understand this concept of the direct reference, let's go back and look at our data model quickly. Here we see in our data model that there's no actual direct relationship between the accounting table, where our dashboard exists, and the transaction line items, where the ledger detail exists. We do have an indirect relationship in that the line items are a grandchild of accounting. They're the child of the accounting parent. We can use this indirect relationship to build a view that allows us to be in the accounting dashboard and see all the way down to our grandchild table. Let's look at that. Here we are in the dashboard. Here is our view. Remember, we studied views in training class 114. And in that class, we used a select statement to populate the view. We treated the view like a window, and the select statement allowed us to select a table, the contents of which we would view through that window. Well, look at this particular view. Here we see our sales ledger view, but the formula telling us what we're going to see when we look through that view has no select statement. We are simply following that path from the accounting table, the dashboard, through to the child transactions, and then from there down to the grandchild transaction line items. Because we have a relationship between accounting and transaction, we also have a relationship to all of the transactions, children, and all of the tables that are related to that transaction table. The select statement, while very powerful, can also result in a performance decrease in our database. If we have tens or hundreds of thousands of records that we want to transform, manipulate, or simply view in an embedded object like a view, that large of a data sample could take some time to get it selected and presented in the view. But by pointing directly to a relationship, we can speed that process up to a number of nanoseconds, faster than the blink of an eye. Let's look at another application of these direct connections. Returning to our data model, imagine that we want to know for every vendor that we buy from how much sales revenue has been generated by the products we buy, which is to say, which vendors are supplying us with the inventory that's creating the most sales revenue for our company. Now, we're going to have to step backwards through a number of indirect relationships to get the answer. But the result will happen almost instantaneously because we don't need to use any select statements. Here we are in our product table. This is where we store all of the things that we buy and sell. To know what products have been sold, we go backwards through this outer join from the product table to the transaction line item table. The transaction line item table is the child of the transaction table where we document our sales transactions. So we have now indirectly gone from the product table back to the transaction table where we track all of our sales. From the transaction table, we can follow this outer join back to the vendor table, which is part of our address book data stack. So going backwards, we can see the products that we sold and the vendors from whom we purchased those products. If we total up the detailed transaction line items of all of the sales of all of the products for each particular vendor, we will get the answer to our question, which vendors are supplying us with the inventory that's creating the most sales revenue. Let's go look at our vendor table. So this enables us now to look at a particular vendor and see all of the line item sales of products that came from this vendor. So Franklin Manufacturing has provided us with products that resulted in $3,400 worth of commercial customer sales. You'll note here there are no select statements. We've taken one of our numeric functions that we studied in class 109, the sum function, and then we have followed the path. From the product table, go to the transaction, down to the line item, down to the line total, and give us the sum total of all line items in all transactions that consisted of the sale of a product that was sold to us by this particular vendor. You just use your data model and work forward and backwards in following these relationships. You can benefit from the transferability of any relationship. Accounting has no relationship to product serial number, but accounting is related to transactions. Transactions are related to transaction line items. Transaction line items are related to products, and products are the parent of product serial numbers. Therefore, we do have a relationship that we can leverage when we need to sum or average or total or in any way transform or leverage data in any of the tables in our Ninox application. Whether it's an external join, a parent-child, it doesn't matter. Once you've built a relationship between two objects, either by inner join or outer join, all of the relationships of each of the objects in that relationship are themselves now indirectly related. Use your indirect relationships whenever you can to get the best performance out of your Ninox system. I'll see you in the next class when we're going to look at another way to leverage outer join relationships, and that is when we need to build a many-to-many relationship. I'll see you in the classroom. Visit us at www.nioxis.com. Here you can learn about different Ninox solutions. You can get tech support through our Ninox Help Desk, which is available 7 days a week, or you can schedule private one-on-one concierge sessions for training, or we can help you build your application. And if you haven't done so already, sign up for our free Ninox Learning Lab. We do this every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. in the UK, 6 p.m. Central European Time. These free hour-long sessions enable you to learn more about Ninox, features, functions, and solutions. We have open Q&A where you can get answers to all your Ninox questions, and you can meet other members of the global Ninox community. We look forward to seeing you there.